Why is the refusal rate for innovator founders going up? Well, there's a few reasons. Basically, though, the Home Office isn't happy with the caliber of candidates that some of the endorsing bodies are endorsing. And so it's making its own checks. So if you have your endorsement letter, that's not enough. You will be subject to the Home Office's own checks. So before you apply for the endorsement, or if you're after the endorsement, you need to really have a think about things before you apply to the Home Office. You should be having a look at these kind of questions. Now, these are some filters that I've set out. This is from my Innovative Visa checklist, Innovator Founder Visa checklist. And the starting point the Home Office will assess is, look, does it make sense? Whoops. Does it make sense for me? So am I a subject matter expert? So this is a big factor in the Home Office assessing whether it's so-called genuine. Why is the Home Office constantly talking about genuineness and emphasizing genuineness? Well, in other words, they're talking about authenticity. In other words, they don't want a situation where someone's created a business purely for immigration purposes. And how do they assess that? How do they assess whether or not the person in question is doing this for immigration purposes, or mainly for immigration purposes, or mainly for commercial purposes? Well, a starting point is, are they a subject matter expert in the area? What are they saying they're going to do? And are they able to pull that off on the basis of their skill set? The next closely related one is can it be market validated? Now, there's a really good book on this by Pat Flynn, Will It Fly? How to Test Your Next Business Idea so you don't waste your time and money. And I think the same can be said of the visa process, right? You don't want to waste your time and money getting the endorsement if you're going to be refused by the Home Office, or if you're going to have issues down the line because you haven't got the fundamentals right. So what this covers is dozens of different ideas about how you can validate your business idea. The best way to validate it is to actually have paying customers already, but you shouldn't start trading already in the UK. Generally, but if you have a overseas business and you've launched a product and you've market validated it that way, maybe you have British customers through having made it available to the UK market, then that's strong validation. It could be anything from that right through to letters of intent from prospective customers in the UK. Now, that's the sort of thing that they're looking at with the market validation. But pure internet research, forget about it, right? It's not going to happen if your only market validation is that either you think it's a good idea or you've looked on the internet and you can't see anyone offering it. That's not going to fly. Then the tech is not, quote, largely outsourced to a third-party provider. So if you're in a situation where you're not the tech person and it's going to be a tech team doing it, then again, fair enough. They want to ask, who is going to be building this thing? Have you got a quote for it? Is there a budget? Exactly how is it going to be pulled off? And typically with these tech agencies and everything, if you just ask for a quote, they'll give you like a generic quote, but it's going to be well below the level of detail that you need. A detailed specifications generally involves you having to actually pay something and take it to the next stage. Asking for quotes from tech companies and getting some broad brush quotes is not going to be good enough. I mean, the quality varies, but no initial quote is going to be enough. Even if you get a nicely presented, tailored quote from them breaking down the different stages, usually that's going to be too generic to be of actual use. So you have to have really engaged someone to get the requisite level of detail. But even then, if you're largely outsourcing it to a third-party provider, the question is then, well, to what extent are you personally going to be involved? Now, you don't necessarily need to be the tech person, but maybe you've had product management experience, for example. And in terms of outsourcing, this is referencing contractors versus your in-house team. So maybe you already have onboarded someone, maybe you have a tech person you're going to be working with. Most of my clients so far have themselves had tech profiles. Incidentally, if you're watching this and you're younger, like in your 18 or your early 20s, and you're deciding what to study computer science. Computer science offers so many possibilities. I've got this kind of unique perspective because of the number of people I'm fortunate to work with and that I speak with. I see people with different career trajectories after studying various different things. And I must say, a foundation in computer science is the best start in life that you can have. Also, if you've got kids and you're not sure what they're going to be studying or they're not sure what to study, that's a great direction to steer them in if they've got, if they've got the required level of competence for it. But yeah, computer science is really where it's at. You might hear a lot of people saying that computer science, everyone studies computer science. It's not worth the paper it's written on. And the level of detail they go into in bachelor's is insufficient. I wouldn't listen to any of that at all. A foundation in computer science is a great foundation. That combined with the MBA is brilliant. Now, if by contrast you do business management, for example, first, then and you start off on that pathway, then it's difficult to then get into tech. If you do have a business management profile though, and you studied that sort of thing, or you studied another subject to start with, then there's nothing to stop you from gaining some tech competence. There's great Coursera courses you can take, Udemy courses, but yeah, do something sustained, not just just as an afterthought, and something again that's really going to help you out in your business, not for immigration purposes, because the quickly see through that. So be careful on the outsourcing aspect of things. Then the next point on my list is it's not a generic business with only an incidental innovation proposition, as the Home Office puts it, like a transport company with an app. The innovation has got to be core to the proposition, and then you should be able to do. It's got to be something where you could do significant R&D and apply for IP protection, because ultimately that's one of the criteria that you may be selecting out of the 7 when you come to apply for ILR. And yeah, there's an expectation that this would be the kind of business where R&D is possible, and where you could then, like most of my clients do, the apply for the R&D tax credit, and then we've got really strong evidence that they have done that R&D, and that makes the ILR application then much more straightforward. So yeah, so it is getting harder, probably rightly so, and so I would go through this very basic level checklist. I've got some much more detail on my checklist. You can get that on my website. But get the basics right, because if one of these points is off, then later on you're going to have difficulties, whether it's upon applying for the initial visa or later down the line. So best to get the foundations right. If you are applying, best of luck. Feel free to get me on my consultation service. You can select a time to speak with me from the link below. Bye for now.